Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another OST77 StarCraft 2 commentary. It has been a very long time since I actually casted a game, about 5 days since I posted one, and I uploaded it posthumously. I had been away for a good few weeks and busy with training, so my apologies. I'm now back into the field. So this time, I'm going to be bringing you a TvZ matchup. Everybody loves TvZ. Between TvZ Polt, our red Terran player at the top left of Tal'Darim Altar, up against Acer Bly, the orange Zerg at the bottom right. So Bly is a Ukrainian Zerg player playing on Acer, of course, and he came first in his country's nationals, which was pretty impressive. He was able to take out White Raw in 2 best-of-3s, and he lost the first one 2-1, won the second one 2-1. And of course, the ever-enigmatic TvZ Polt, the Korean Terran player with fantastic micro and just a phenomenal understanding of the game. He is I believe, one-time GSL Code S champion. And now, Bly is... I've actually not seen too much of him. I've heard, of course, a lot about Bly. I've watched maybe 1 or 2 of his WCS games, but I'm not exactly warmed up to his tendencies. And he is on a team with a number of Zerg players. Acer has Scarlet, Paranoid, Bly, and Nurchio. Nurchio, very, very good player. Scarlet is actually on the rise. She won the WCS Canada, the country where I'm from. So that was pretty interesting to see her just run through that tournament and pull a bunch of upsets. It's pretty exciting to see an up-and-coming Zerg player, and a female at that, in StarCraft 2. So Bly is just going to go for this early hatch build, with Polt actually opening for a similarly timed expansion. So that's a very intriguing opening, because he is actually only about 15 seconds behind his opponent's expo. So this is a risky, greedy play from Polt. But I don't think Bly is going to go for exactly an early aggression play, but nonetheless it will still be difficult for Polt to hold some Roach pressure off. I guess he'll have to place a bunker here, and just rest assured there's now the pool on the way after the hatch for Bly. This is actually a best-of-3 series from the quarterfinals of the MSI Pro Cup number 12. My apologies for not saying that. I knew I was forgetting something. It is organized by Millennium and MSI, and there have been 12 editions in 2012 so far. It has a prize pool of 1,100 euros. It's an online tournament, to my knowledge, and Bly and Polt face off here in the quarterfinals. That's pretty much all we have about our venue. And Polt is now throwing down his barracks, just finished. His expansion not going to be too long after. He's going and scouting over here with the SCV. Realizes his opponent is not there, probably because there's no expansion. So unless he's going for some crazy one-base Zerg play, he is not there. So now, 2 queens coming out from Bly. He's actually foregone queens so far in this game just to have a quicker expansion, quicker spawning pool. So that's pretty interesting. You usually see the hatch, queen, then pool, or similar timings, like queen, hatch, pool. That's kind of rare. Or queen, pool, hatch. That's, I mean, I'm kind of throwing combos out there, but I have seen that ladder a few times. Now the queen actually finishes at just the right time, and the other one will as well. So that SCV scout is not getting out, and he will not be able to see the Roach War in here. Pretty vital information there for Polt. Lost. He has not seen that there's a Roach Warren on the way. That's a witty placement from Bly, and now Polt finally going to be building a bunker right next to his mineral line. So that's, I guess, will prevent any Ling run-bys from being very effective. There's no need to place it here, because then Speedwings, of course, can just circumvent it by running around. There's some injects just popping out. I always love that animation. Only 1 gas so far for off 2 bases for Bly, while Polt has gone for 2 on 1 base and has yet to get a refinery on his natural. He's going for 2 more racks, and 1 factory is almost finished. So he's also getting an NG bay and a reactor on his rack, so he's probably going to switch these 2 up, judging by how well he's timed them in combination. So he'll go for reactored Hellions, which is a very strong opening against Zerg. Terran players have used it a lot less since the Queen range upgrade, which was pretty much yesterday's news. Nowadays it's patch 1.5. Check that out if you haven't already. But the Queen has received additional range a couple months ago now, and we've seen a lot less Hellion play But it seems as though Polt is not giving this up. He's going for reactor Hellions, while his opponent just popped out a bunch of speed wings. Actually, no, not speed wings yet. He's 20 seconds away from completing his metabolic boost. He has a ton of lings. We'll probably try to go for a run by even a few roaches in there. This seems like a very, very strong timing. If we look at the population, there's a 12 population difference. Only 3 Marines and 2 Hellions to 5 roaches and 25 speedwings. That is extreme difference. Now, Bly just going to run in here, surround this SCV building, the supply depot, probably try to cut off his opponent. Now just going to supply block him. I don't think he wants to do too much more. Very smart play, though, from Bly. He has these roaches to completely prevent Hellion play, and there he does, just negating the both of them. Now he's morphing in Banelings. If he can get a good detonation, that could be game clinching for him this early at almost the 8-minute mark. Now, Bly just prepping his Banelings. There's 2 Hellions in there. Bly does not want these Banelings to die. It looks as though Polt is trying to focus them down. He's able to kill 2. 3 remain, and there they just detonate into the wall. So very well done there from Polt. Bly is still likely going to be able to deny this expansion. Not destroy it, but just deny it landing and mining. There's actually the wall destroyed there, so Bly running in. Polt forced to pull SCVs. He may just be able to hold this if he's lucky. Now going to engage a ton of SCVs. Let's just see how many are lost, though. Only 5, 6, 7. Okay, so 7 SCVs have died to date, and 8 total. So Polt able to hold that off quite well, considering the amount invested into that from Bly. If we look at the resources lost, very close, but favoring Polt. So he did lose that mining time, though it is natural. So Bly, those Baneling detonations were the one real mistake I find. He could have tried to bait out the SCVs and then hit with Banelings, because although he did detonate the wall, when he ran in, there were just so many SCVs and Marines Marauders that he just got surrounded and only was able to kill 8 SCVs. 2 Banelings would probably be able to do that. Maybe even 1 Baneling, well detonated, would be able to kill that many SCVs. So that I would argue that, because he did not have enough forces for a bust. And now Polt looks like he's going to go for some counter aggression. Probably going to run into the third here to see if there's anything. Bly only now beginning to destroy those rocks there. He's a little bit oversaturated at his third. Not much, though, I don't believe. There he goes, popping down to double Evo chamber, so that will kind of balance out his saturation. His main, he just has actually finished there. My apologies for not noting that. While Polt is going for armor level 1. Has he gotten his weapons? Wrong unit. I'm clicking on a friggin' mechanical unit. Yes, he has. So he's at 1-0, going for 1-1. I find a lot of Terran players, even at the pro level, tend to neglect upgrades in the early game. But now, that is intelligent of Polt to make sure that he has gotten his 1-1 fast, and hopefully he will get his 2-2, because even those who do upgrade tend to stop at 1-1. But extreme oversaturation here from Bly. He's got 1 full page worth of drones and then some. That comes out to a total of 60 harvesters. He's going to be fine in terms of saturation for his third, but it hasn't even started yet, so I would say he's over-droned. If these Hellions can just get a good shot off with their infernal flamethrowers. I always hear infernal pre-igniters, but I never actually checked the name of the Hellion weapon. Bly is ahead in population, but that is a lot of drones. He's bringing his Marauders in here to soak up any potential Banelings. Now just going to deny some creep spread here, and possibly take out this macro hatch. Here's a pretty sizable Roach Baneling Ling force moving in now from Bly, trying to get a surround on those Marauders, and very smartly done micro-wise from Polt. As I said, he has extremely immaculate micro, because he's placed his Marauders at the front intelligently to absorb any Baneling fire. So now 1 Queen down, another weakened, but not dead yet. Bly is now just beginning to get his third. That is going to take a little while to finish. He's halfway. My bad. Well, Polt is just looking very, very good. He doesn't even have a single drone killed, but he's kept his opponent held back and forced him to play defensively and pop so many Banelings rather than investing in tech. He's only now getting his 1-1. So that is definitely a intelligent use of aggression from Polt. He didn't even have the larger force. He just poked in with those Hellions, killed a Queen. You know, that's just a pest if you're a Zerg player. If you lose a Queen, it takes so painfully long to regenerate. Now Bly actually missing these Hellions here. Polt is going to lose all of them, but he forces a few Baneling detonations, and that is quite critical now. Bly moving out with a huge force. There is the third now here from Polt. This will be a pretty bad time for him to get hit. Let's see where Bly is going to run in. He's moving his whole force up, and now running into Polt's Marauders, actually. He has to be careful not to detonate his Banelings in it. Polt sensing an attack over here. No, he's not. Yes, he actually lifts off his command center. That was weird. I was contradicting myself like 5 times in the same minute. It's because I thought he didn't have his guys moving, but then turns out he just lifted off his command center right after. So these Zerg forces cannot hit air, and Polt is again forced to pull back, though he's lost this base. So Bly, it's been aggression, but Bly has done more concrete damage. He has denied mining time at the natural, killed 8 SCVs. Now he's just managed to catch up to Polt in terms of upgrades. He's at 2-2 coming, right in line with Polt's 2-2. Also getting it. Polt, though, is also getting his weapons level 1 on his vehicles. So a very close game, if you ask me. It seems as though Polt is now just attacking an extractor at the 4th location of Bly, because Bly probably wanted to build a hatchery but did not want to lose the drone, so he just threw it down for an extractor. Here's the Zergling swarm now running in. We do have pathogen glands, so infestor plate coming. I always mix up the ventral sacs and pathogen glands. Do not ask me why. And hive tech from Bly, so a lot of tech on the way. He's still massing this huge roach baneling force, but it's a smart tech switch for him to go infestors. Very, very useful against Terran Bio, but Polt has still gotten a significant number of tanks. He is currently at 6 and counting. So tanks, as many people do know, completely shred roaches. So mutas, I think, would be the absolute best play at the moment for Bly, rather than infestors, because if you're able to get some good baneling detonations on marines and mutas on the tanks, then that can be quite game-changing. But investors fungaling this many marines weakened by stim is also just as powerful. So Polt's forced his opponent back, but there was actually a burrowed baneling there, so Polt lost a ton of forces. I'm going to just go back there real quick. Sorry for showing you how long the game is. I missed that completely. I love the use of burrowed baneling bombs, but that was amazingly well done. So we'll just head back here. Bly pulling back, force baiting out Polt, and does he burrow a baneling right here? Yes, he burrows 2. Polt doesn't see it, and oh, there we go. So many marines going down there. Well done by Bly, completely evening the population. He does go down to 10 now because there are a lot of marauders in this composition, but that was an extremely well thought out play. It was just on the spot, and Polt just fell for the bait like a fish does for a worm. Here he goes, having landed his 3rd by now, but Bly is getting his 4th hatchery. I believe he did take that drone off of the extractor by cancelling it, dropping creep here at the 4th location of Polt, just likely to know when that base is coming. And here goes Polt with a marine drop, including just 1 marauder and 6 marines. He just has so many production facilities in his main, and his 4th command center is now finished and ready to lift off. So this drop, is it going to be revealed here to Bly? Yes, it will. So he's able to see this medevac. His 2-2 just finished, so both players are at 2-2, and Polt is at 1 weapons on his tank. So there's that Spire from Bly, and an Ultra Cavern. So that is an interesting tech choice on Hive. Like I did say, I would have recommended mutas, mutiling baneling against the kind of composition Polt had, but Bly is probably going to go Broodlords with this. They are very strong in the late game in general, especially against Terran. Protoss as well, but Terran, since the snipe nerf, they have a lot less of a counter. If the Zerg is able to get enough Corruptors to hold off Vikings, then Broodlords could be a game-changing unit. Now, there are a lot of infestors on the field, but that Ultra Cavern will soon finish. Ultras are... they're, I would say, almost a controversial unit. I've seen a lot of good players criticize them, and equally so, a lot of players compliment them and suggest they're being used in the late game ZVT. But nonetheless, Bly is pulling back to his natural location near that hatchery, the macro hatch. He's going to push in here to the tanks, just sieging up. There's some pretty nice fungals, dropping a lot of infested Terrans, and actually that will draw out a lot of siege tank fire. Polt only left with 3 tanks. Look at how many bio forces just died there. That is a ton of blood, both Zerg and Terran alike. Bly needs to get his force in one place fast, though. That's the problem with Zerg. Even though they can remax so fast, it often takes them time to get all of their forces from every different rally point to one location. That's why the supply is close, but Polt has all of his army in one place. So here is actually an infestor right here in the middle of Polt's ranks, trying to drop some infested Terrans to wreak havoc upon his opponent. So he's now getting chitinous plating and weapons level 3, melee weapons level 3, that is. Yeah, he never actually opted for ranged weapons. That is one thing to note. So he does now have a handful of ultras. That is a total of 3, and let's see how he's able to use them. But he has to get a good surround on this Terran Bioforce, which he does, looking very good for Bly, but he has to be wary of his ultras. One of them has yet to do really any damage, and it dies already. These tanks very powerful against Ultralisks if they're able to get a good engagement spot. Here's one tank, though, one ultra, sorry, from Bly, going to die now, but was able to inflict a lot of damage on the tanks of Polt. So the supplies, definitely a huge lead here for Polt. I don't exactly know who I'm going to call the game for at this point, because Bly was able to force his opponent back by getting a nice surround on Polt's bio with Zerglings and then using some Banewing detonations. Both players actually have a lot of banked resources, especially gas. I think Bly should at least dump it into infestors, and there is a greater spire on the way, so we'll probably see some corruptors coming out soon. Look at that, though, over 2,000 resources. There was also a pause just there, I do believe. Now here is Polt transferring some SCVs to his 5th. Only 4 bases still from Bly, so he's not expanded to any further mining locations. Quite surprising, but here he goes running by with the Lings, trying to get to his opponent's 4th. If he can kill a lot of those mules especially, even though the mules eventually die, if they die while mining, it is a pain to Terran users, because Terran relies heavily on mules to stay economically even with opposing races. And so 8 corruptors now finishing for Bly. I think if he's able to get these broodlords out and just not get them caught in a precarious position, this game could very well be his, because Polt does not really have a late game counter to this kind of composition, with a lot of Lings, Banewings, and broodlords especially, or maybe even some ultras thrown into the mix to soak up some fire, because it's ever important for Zerg players to just keep their broodlords out of harm's way, because Marines are just not exactly the counter to broodlords, but if you're able to get a group of Marines under your opponent's broodlords, it's just extremely devastating to them. So now there's 8 broodlords morphing from those 8 corruptors. This 4th base is soon going to go down, and that will be critical, because Bly, on that few mining bases, he's now going to be 2 bases behind his Terran opponent. That would be devastating. Now the hatchery does die, so that is huge there for Polt. It's actually an incredibly close game. Both players just wresting control of the lead. I think Polt does now have the edge in workers killed. He's able to deny that hatchery. Oh, destroy. I keep saying deny. I love the word deny in StarCraft, but it wasn't building. So now there are these 8 broodlords moving out, but Bly has to be very careful not to lose them. They're so slow moving. So if Polt can get a good engage with his Marines, that would be critical. There are now 2 Vikings on the way from Polt, but equally so 2 corruptors from Bly, probably predicting Viking play. He has no other anti-air, that is why. Now these Zerglings just forcing back the Terran force. Here is Bly engaging with his broodlords, and that will do a lot of damage. 3-3 now coming from Polt. Bly has no upgrades on his broodlords. He should be getting them. That would be critical in this late game. As the late game progresses, it's just absolutely game-changing to have your 3-3 on everything, or 3-3-3 if you're Protoss. You actually rarely ever see shields in the late game, but nonetheless, you just hear those whipping sounds from the broodwing strikes. There are 2 Vikings here. No corruptors as of yet. They now have moved in, so the Vikings, one of them getting fungal. This corruptor will soon die. They do have 200 health to the Vikings 125, but it looks as though Bly is just going to barely get out with the advantage here. In terms of anti-air, he has lost a lot of broodlords. He only has 2 left at this point. He's going to call the GG separately. GG. Very close game, I find, but as the game progressed, Polt was just able to stay on a lot of mining bases. When it was 4 bases to 3, that was really when it was looking best for Bly, and even when he had those broodlords out, but the fact that he lost them to this kind of engagement point, you can just see this kind of defines the ending of this game. That's actually epic. The broodlord just exploding in midair. The Marines triumphant. after finally fending off those freaky broodlings. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this cast. I am a little bit tired, but I've tried to do my best. I will see you next time. Feel free, as always, to leave a comment, subscribe, that would be lovely, like, or dislike if you truly feel it is not worthy of your like. Anyway, I will see you guys.